It'd be fun watching them take on each other.
Oh, I'm sure it would be. Yeah. I mean, yeah, they would, of course. The media would want that. Democrats want that. Democrats want it because I think that they want those guys to take each other out to make it easier for President McUnity there. Welcome back to the program. Your surly curmudgeon here. 2 days later, and we're still counting votes. Top of our second hour here, this Thursday. 2 days after, I just got the, let me pull this up. I just saw this, hold up. Lauren Boebert is up by 0.2% now in Colorado's 3rd Congressional District. So she's up 98% of the votes in, and she's up 386 ballots. 2 days later. I mean, come on. This is so ridiculous. And then you have, I gotta share this audio summit with you too, because there was the weeping and gnashing of the teeth regarding Florida. Democrats don't know how to deal with Florida yet, so they haven't addressed it. This is not the brightest analysis, but I just want to show you, we have some election deniers in our midst. Not our midst, I mean, they're over like in the other area, because we don't hang out with them. But over the hens over at the View, the hen house, listen. Ron DeSantis is the king of Florida and has done what no one thought could be done. That's the narrative. Which I told you yesterday was going to be the case. I told you he was going to win bigly. But listen, Ron DeSantis barely won in 2018 by 35,000 votes by the skin of his teeth against a black, progressive, little-known mayor from Tallahassee, Florida. Yesterday, he won by 20 percentage points. Why? Because he gamed the system. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? That's so ridiculous. By the way, he won by over, goodness, well over 1.5 million votes last night. But this whole, or last night, Tuesday night, but this whole barely won, that's not actually even accurate. But she sounds like an election denier. Sounds like some election denying to me, and we know what we think about those people. Is that right, Kane? Election denying is what it sounds like.
Threats to democracy.
I mean, insurrectionism right there. I mean, exactly what I'm hearing. I'm hearing some insurrectionisms, but, just there you go. It's pretty, he didn't game the system. He actually just, won people to vote for him. But I wrote about this a little bit. I didn't do, a whole big, giant synopsis of everything. But I touched on the split ticket thing because I still don't think enough attention was paid. Nobody was really talking about that in the media yesterday. And that is so incredibly big because when you look, and I just want to touch on these two things, and the reason I bring it up is because Republicans have got to figure out how to talk to this. They've got to figure, when you have a big tent, you have to be able to deal with us. And when you look at, because I noted, in Ohio, for instance, you had Mike DeWine. He had a 25-point lead, and he cruised to victory easily. But J.D. Vance only had a 6-point lead. So you had there was some split-ticket stuff happening, meaning you would have some people that voted for Mike DeWine and other people that voted for Tim Ryan. Or maybe some people voted for J.D. Vance and some people voted for, the Democrat challenger for governor. But, by and large, it was mostly people going for DeWine and then Tim Ryan. So you saw this in New York, too, because you had Kathy Hochul. She won the governor's race, but underneath her, throughout the rest of the state, Republicans flipped 4 congressional seats. So there were people voting for Democrat governor and then Republican House seats. That's really interesting. And that makes it a little bit harder to figure out how you're going to handle your voter outreach. Do you see what I'm saying? Why this is such a major issue? And so far, I don't have any confidence. I haven't heard anything from Republicans as to how they plan on dealing with this. They seem entirely unprepared. That's what happens when you have a big tent, though. So you got to figure out your messaging on this. And you also have to look at, not only do you have to figure out your messaging nationally, but you got to look at how you're going to deal with it state by state, because New York is different from, Ohio. And Ohio, I think, is now pretty reliably red. But that was really interesting. Plus 25 for DeWine and only plus 6 for Vance. And then when you look at, I think some of these other, like New York was huge. There were a number of things here. I want to touch on something else, too. Because and again, when I get latest numbers in, it's day 2 from midterms here in our ridiculously third world country process, apparently now. I'll share that with you. I saw these headlines about how Kevin McCarthy's launching his bid for Speaker of the House. The House Freedom Caucus says, yeah, not so fast. Not so fast. Yeah, House Freedom Caucus. Jim Jordan said that he's supportive of McCarthy. We talked to him yesterday. He said he's supportive of McCarthy. And then you have Steve Scalise, who is apparently launching a bid as well. And I think that McCarthy, he's got to fight for it because he was not handed a mandate. He really was not handed a mandate. So this is stuff that they got to get all figured out and all this. Man, but I also feel like it's a little, I want to hear before we sit here and start, rotating the chips on the board. I kind of want to really see what do they have? What are their plans? What are they going to do? What are they going to do here? How are they going to talk to all this? How are you going to handle split ticket? How are you going to do that? I'm frustrated because I feel like, and everybody talking about 2024, I feel like it's a little early. I mean, Republicans were handed an advantage that they squandered, and now everybody's going to sit here and try to cast lots for 2024? Seriously? I also kind of feel like I wrote this last night. A Trump versus DeSantis brawl is going to make us feel like kids watching our divorced parents fight. It is, isn't it? I don't even want to talk about it. It's making me depressed. Mom and Dad, get along. Oh, man. The other thing that we need to figure out is where the money's going. My friend Jesse Waters made mention of this yesterday, and I thought he was spot on because he asked some questions that nobody else was willing to ask. Where is all the money going? I mentioned this yesterday on yesterday's radio broadcast. I wanted to play this from Jesse real quick. This was audio sent by 15. Listen to this.
McConnell spent close to $400 million on these Senate candidates. I don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but that is a lot of money. And we didn't pick up a single seat. So either some of these candidates are garbage, or the money's not being well spent. But Trump's sitting on a massive war chest in Mar-a-Lago. Where'd that money go? We don't know.
These are good questions to ask. How is this money being spent? And I think candidate quality comes into play too. The reason I bring this up is I always like to provide some kind of clarification. And when I was watching a lot of the back and forth, and people were like, "Oh, McConnell didn't do this or didn't do that," I'm not exactly what you would call and I think it goes without saying. As long as I've been on air, I mean, there's receipts. I'm not like the biggest fan, but I do appreciate the fact that we have a conservative Supreme Court, and one in every 4 circuit court judges is a Trump nominee because he guided them through. So I do appreciate that. But one of the reasons why I wanted to correct this narrative is because I think that not correcting it enables us to not hold people accountable for how donor money is spent. You know what I mean? If we're not being accurate about it, then how are we going to tell them how to correct it? So when I was looking into some of this, and I don't care about the power jockeying because I'm ideological, not political. And when I was looking at where money was going, so McConnell's thing is the Senate Leadership Fund. They were, according to Ad Impact, the highest spending advertiser of the election cycle. In the Pennsylvania race alone, they poured $41 million in. And I looked that up after I was watching some of these really bad paid operatives who masquerade as pundits try to assert that didn't happen. I'm like, wait a minute. And usually what that money goes to is it goes towards, like, usually you have like phone banking, you have mailers are incredibly expensive. Do y'all know how much mailers are? I only know because I've volunteered on campaigns and I got to see some of this. I mean, they're expensive. Ad buys are incredibly expensive. Whether it's radio or television or digital, it's all very, very pricey. So they had that Senate Leadership Fund. They poured $41 million into that Pennsylvania race to help bail out Oz. Now, where a lot of this stuff started, the fighting on this, went back to Arizona. So Peter Thiel, 2 of his proteges, one of them is Blake Masters in Arizona. And the word is that he was a big factor in influencing Trump to endorse Masters in Arizona. And so then Peter Thiel, he had like pledged X amount, but then there was some fighting because some were saying that he failed to properly secure his, these people's campaigns with cash. He wanted to go in, like the accusation was he wanted to be a kingmaker, but then he didn't put up enough money to do it. And so there was some back and forth because he wanted McConnell's Senate Leadership Fund to do it. McConnell was already looking at apparently a couple of, like Georgia, they put millions of dollars into Georgia, millions of dollars into Pennsylvania. I don't think it was actually, the only disagreement I would have with Jesse is I don't think it was like 400 million. I think it was closer towards 300 million dollars. It was over $250 million. So that's how much that Senate Leadership Fund was spending into all of this. And they poured millions into Georgia, and I linked all of this with the actual receipts on my newsletter, by the way. And so that was the back and forth with McConnell and Peter Thiel about Arizona, because McConnell's like, oh my gosh, you're going to help. This is awesome, because now I can pour some of this money into some of these other races. And Thiel was like, no, I feel like I've donated enough and that this race is safe. That's what he pretty much said about Masters. He was like, I feel like I've done enough. McConnell's like, whoa, you can't do that, or the Senate Leadership Fund and the people who make those decisions were like, wait a minute, you can't do that after we already allocated this stuff for these races. Oh my gosh. And this is kind of the difference too when you have people who don't know, because when you make your ad buys, you have a deadline to purchase, the time, and then after that passes your SOL. And so when you have all this money that's allocated and you're pledging this money to the campaigns and they're making their buys and they're doing all this stuff, that money at that point is tied up. And so there's the difference between someone who isn't involved in the politics of it and doesn't understand how the sausage is made, and then someone who does. And so that's where the rub was, apparently. And so they were trying to figure out how they're going to get. Finally, Thiel was persuaded to put more money into that race, which I think, and I think his Trump backpack put in 16 million. And I kind of want to know, like, how is all this being spent? And I think Trump's, from what I read, it was 16 million for all the election cycle. I don't know if there's more. I don't know, but that's what I've been able to find. So my question is that, how is this money being spent? And I think if you're going to get involved in the race and throw your weight around, then you need to also put up the required amount of cash to help those candidates shore up that seat. And you can't, afterwards, when you fail to do that, I just don't know if it's entirely fair to freak out at the Senate Leadership Fund, because they're bailing out at all the, I wrote about this and I said, I know we got to get moving. But yes, McConnell's a Senate leader, so he's expected to help bankroll candidates. But I also think that the former president, that doesn't absolve him of responsibility as the de facto party leader. And when you're hinting about running again in 2024, and when you want to endorse people and pick the people running in races, you kind of also have that responsibility to secure that seat. I think that's a reasonable, right? So that I wanted to just correct that. We got a whole bunch of stuff to get into, including the latest 2 days later still counting votes. We're going to get into all of that and more as we get moving. I know the whole thing is so frustrating. Our friends over at ARC Seed Kits, they want to help you be actually just have a seed vault, which I think is incredibly smart to do, particularly since it looks like we get 2 more years of stupidity on the way, and who knows what's going to happen after that. ARC Seed Kits is a family-owned company. They provide heirloom seeds. They've been doing so across the country for 13 years. And they have this amazing all-in-one ARC kit. It's the all-in-one seed kit. You get seeds for both vegetables and herbs, 50,000 organically grown seeds in each kit. Corn, watermelon, cucumbers, name it, they got it. 16 varieties of medical and culinary herbs as well. And heirloom seeds that's when you can, you plant them, you harvest them, save your seeds, and you can just do it year after year after year. And it's really, really easy to do this, by the way. And having a seed vault is incredibly important, especially when produce is so expensive and there's shortages of a number of things. You always want to make sure that you can be self-sustaining. And it's great if you want to do your own garden, or if you want to have a seed vault, or you want to do both. And it's affordable. Visit artseedkits.com. Enter code Dan. I know. Let's get into a couple of things. So, on Twitter, I've noticed that I guess they're doing the blue chat. How do you even do that? How do you even find that? I'm not paying $8. If they take mine away, then I will. But I guess you can pay the $8 and get the thing now. Where do you even, I don't even know where, so here's, they've been having problems already. Oh, it's actually kind of funny. So they have LeBron James and others impersonated by verified accounts. Some have already been suspended. It's the $7.99 a month version of Twitter Blue, so you can pay for the blue check. And they said that, what is it, a bunch of athletes have already been parodied. Rudy Giuliani was parodied. Oh, but then they also have George W. Bush. He was parodied. I mean, and it had like the official. They had a fake Nintendo, and it was Mario giving everybody the finger. And then they had at George W. Bush's, and it said, "I miss killing Iraqis." That's what he had, and it was verified. Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. And it said, y'all are missing the point about the $8. It's a small price to make this app completely unusable, and I'm assuming he's going to quickly learn we can get refunds from the credit cards we use if he suspends us prior to a month. And then there was LeBron. They had a fake LeBron James. I am officially requesting a trade. Oh my gosh, that's actually hysterical. So that's not going so well for everybody. I don't know, has the throttling stopped yet? I don't even know if that's stopped. The shadow banning? Yeah, I don't know. So there was also the official. So they had this label that he had that was called official that was given to some verified accounts earlier. And that was his, I guess, answer to trying to figure out the legitimacy of an account outside of the blue check mark. And then when somebody said that his official badge was gone, Musk said, "Oh, I killed it." So he said that the blue check mark is going to be the great leveler. And he goes, "Please note, Twitter will do lots of dumb things in the coming months. We will keep what works and change what doesn't." I just think it's all funny. I don't know. I'm just watching it. I'm just sitting here. I'm just going to, eat my popcorn and watch and wait for the 10 years it's going to take for the votes to come in. Who knows. All right, so I wanted to switch to the wokery. Let's get some wokery in while we, nobody knows what the hell's going on with the country. Hey, let's see. Oh, let's do this one. The Miss Greater Dairy. I loved that when the photo went out on this, they actually felt like they had to circle the individual about whom this is about. This lived at TikTok. And it said a biological male won Miss Greater Dairy, which is a beauty pageant in New Hampshire under the Miss America organization. Brian Nigan became the first transgender to win a title under the organization. He is they circled it because there's one large, a big gal, big girl in a red dress. She's like two of the other ones, and then you realize that's a dude. Yeah, that's a dude. It's a male who is...
She sounds hideous.
Well, she's a guy, so...
Yeah, so is a guy. Look at... So he's standing next to Miss Portsmouth. He could break Miss Portsmouth in half. If you're watching the simulcast of the nationally syndicated radio show, Miss Portsmouth is the littler girl next to him, and she looks tiny, and he could just break her and throw her in half. So he was chosen to be the Miss Greater Dairy. So he took the female title away from all of the females. So he made all the women irrelevant. Because now Miss America is about dudes, apparently.
Excuse me, it's ma'am. It is ma'am.
Yeah, Miss Greater Dairy. We wouldn't have known if they hadn't circled this fella in the picture. We wouldn't have known. I'm just like, for those of you who can't see it, let me describe it for you. So, there's a bunch of young ladies in cocktail dresses. All of them in cocktail dresses. And they all have their sashes, Miss so-and-so, Miss this town, Miss that town. And then right in the middle is this rather large individual in a red gown, and that is Miss Greater Dairy. Oh, and he got a scholarship too. So there was a woman who didn't get a scholarship. I mean, it's a great, I mean, this is great. I mean, because we wouldn't have known who he was had they not circled it. He just blended right in. You know, we would not have known. I mean, man, what? We would not have known. Like wearing pink camouflage out in the woods. We wouldn't have known, King. We really wouldn't have. I've got questions. Because this is between the ages of 17 and 24. And honestly, I really feel like the one girl he's standing next to, she looks like she's 14. But she's probably 7. She's probably like the youngest there. I mean, I don't know. I got questions about this. Then there was this, let me pull this up. I got this too. A Kansas school district, they're under fire because they banned students who are in woman face going into the boys' bathroom district. Because remember, it's not about whom you're attracted. It's about how you can identify as, you can be a dude and identify as a chick and still be attracted to chicks. Shouldn't you be focused on, I don't know, grades? This is just getting ridiculous. That's what I said. It's just crazy. So, how is it isolating someone, like contributing to my mental health, but I want to go pee in this bathroom? I'm glad that the parents and the school board are sticking up to that. I mean, I've seen so many students. We had a family member who went through that in their school. And it was an 18-year-old male that wanted to change in the female locker rooms. And our family member, it was a cousin who was in the school, and she was younger. She was under 18, did not feel comfortable changing in front of him in the girls' locker room. And I also think it's kind of big because one is considered of age, and the girls weren't considered of age. And the dude was, I mean, clearly a dude, super tall, somewhat large. And that girls have every right to say, no, this is our space. We want to. They were telling the girls, maybe you can go change in the bathroom down the hall. No, why couldn't he? Why was it that the male is always accommodated, but the women are always told, no, you're going to have to go somewhere else? If he says he's uncomfortable going into the men's room, that's listened to. But if girls say they feel uncomfortable about having him in their changing areas, oh my gosh, then that doesn't count. Then you're a turf. I'm so tired of this stuff. I think it's harassment to demand that women share these spaces. I think it's sexual harassment, and it's discriminatory. Good grief. But I'm glad to see that parents and students, because didn't you notice, like at first, it kind of felt like students felt as though they couldn't push back on this, and now I think that they feel a little bit more empowered to do so. We have more on the way. We're still watching, and we're not going to get anything today. We're not going to know a single damn thing about Maricopa. We're not going to know nothing about Arizona. We're not going to know nothing about Nevada. They're going to drag this out for as long as possible. I mean, how much you want to bet that they try to drag this out all the way past Thanksgiving, all the way up to that runoff in Georgia? I wouldn't be surprised, would you? I wouldn't. Our friends over at Rough Greens, they want to make sure that our dogs are healthy. And it's such an easy way to get your pup on track for better health. It is a supplement, super awesome supplement. I would never go without this. We have to use this daily. It's a supplement you add to your dog's food. It literally brings your dog's food back to life. It has a 100% natural blend of vitamins and minerals, powerful probiotics, digestive enzymes, omega oils, antioxidants, all this good stuff. So if your dog is struggling with skin or digestive or coat issues, anything, Rough Greens is incredibly helpful for your dog's overall health. It's been great. We've seen it work in our dogs, and our vet was so impressed. He was asking about it too. We brought a bag into him for him to, and he wanted to order some for himself, because he has a bunch of dogs. You can get a free Jumpstart trial bag. It's actually a pretty large bag. You get your free Jumpstart trial bag. You just cover the cost of shipping. That's all you do. And you get immediately you add it to your dog's food, and your dogs love the taste of it too. They love it, and it's helped one of our dogs keep weight on as he was dealing with a terminal illness. It's helped Rocco after he's had his back surgery. I mean, we won't ever go without it. You get that free Jumpstart trial bag when you visit Rough Greens. It's RUFF, roughgreens.com. Get that free Jumpstart trial bag. Just cover the cost of shipping. Get your pup back on track to better health. Roughgreens.com.
American consumers have always been very loyal to the brands they buy. Now a newly released report reveals that this is changing due to rising inflation. The second annual Imartis Customer Loyalty Index reveals that 2/3 of consumers have switched from a brand they were once loyal to, while 1 in 6 can no longer afford to be loyal. So what does this mean for American retailers ahead of the busy holiday shopping season? Megan York is Global Head of Product Marketing for Imartis and has this advice.
Our loyalty research shows that there isn't just one factor influencing loyalty, there are lots of variables at play. But what we do know is that customers expect to be and are in control, which means it's not enough just for companies to say they're customer-centric. They really have to be customer-obsessed and understand an individual consumer's wants and needs. So what does that mean? Marketers really need to equip themselves with the right tools and data to engage their customers anywhere and personalize everywhere. This is what's going to drive customer retention and loyalty in the holiday shopping season and beyond.
I want to talk to you about Heather in Louisiana. Heather writes in to discuss her experience with Relief Factor. She says that she loves Relief Factor and knows the difference when she doesn't use it. She says she's been a loyal customer for the last 2 years and tells everyone about it. She shared her packets with a fellow police officer so he could try them. She said she loves working out and always talks about ways to stay pain-free. And thank you for the wonderful product. Well, Heather, thanks for helping to keep the streets safe. And like Heather, my husband Chris takes Relief Factor, and you too can be pain-free. Your first step is to order the 3-week quick start for the highly discounted price of $19.95. And after trying Relief Factor, over 500,000 people have gone on to order more. Try it out for yourself and see what all of these people are talking about. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF to find out more about this offer. That's ReliefFactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. Live your best life and feel the difference with Relief Factor.
Always find KRMG in your pocket. The KRMG app, a free download for both Apple and Android. There is something to be said about keeping things local. It's why I shop at the farmers market. It's why I buy Made in Oklahoma. And it's why I share my story about First Oklahoma Bank. It's my bank. Started here by Oklahomans for Oklahomans. Dan Potter here. First Oklahoma's mission is to help folks reach their dreams, whether it's starting a business, giving you competitive rates on CDs and money market accounts, or helping you with a mortgage. When I call, I get a caring person eager to answer my questions and points me in the right direction. They've been helping me build my credit back. It's like having a local banking expert at my fingertips. Customers like you made it possible for them to grow to over $1 billion bank in assets. The CEO, Tom Bennett, wants to say thank you, Oklahoma, for believing in them and allowing them to believe in you. For competitive CD rates, quick action customer service, mortgage, and banking solutions, try my bank, First Oklahoma Bank. It's no wonder they've been voted best in the world yet again by Tulsa World readers. Move up to better banking. Headquartered in Jenks at 100 Riverfront Drive and FirstOklahomaBank.com. Member FDIC.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hi, I'm Lisa Booth for Bishop Gold Group. Are you worried about your financial future as retirement gets closer? All over the country, soon-to-be retirees are fearing for their financial future as markets remain volatile. Bishop Gold Group helps you invest in gold and gold IRAs to protect your wealth in retirement during times of high inflation and wild swings in the market. Secure your future today. Contact Bishop Gold Group by dialing pound 250 from a mobile phone and say the keyword Bishop Gold, or visit bishopgoldgroup.com.
You're not just looking for a doctor, you're looking for a way to feel better. At Archwell Health, our team is devoted to improving the lives of seniors like you. Barbara was ready to try chair yoga for the first time. She took one of our classes and met friends along the way. James chatted with his doctor and the team dietitian and got to the bottom of his dizzy spells. Archwell Health members enjoy a community of comprehensive care because you are more than a patient. Join today at archwellhealth.com/livewell.
I got a couple different stories here. A Florida man was pretending to be Irish while committing fraud. This is new. Panama City, Florida. Florida man was arrested after committing multiple fraudulent transactions while pretending to be an Irish national. Florida Department of Law Enforcement was aware of this man using the name of Declan Quinn to commit fraud. They found that Mr. Quinn had won the position of HOA Board of Directors president at his Washington County neighborhood. He used his standing in the community to obtain a $17,000 loan fraudulently. And he even used the fake name to sign the notary note saying that he's going to repay the loan, which he didn't do. And then they found out his name was Daryl Bolke, and he was a convicted felon out of Wisconsin. He also said he was a member of the Irish Army. He used a fictitious Irish. Okay, so I'm curious. Did he